Hello, I'm back, guys. So I hope that you saw the pokeapi.co. I guess you went over there and saw the REST API that is over here. So let me just quickly close all of the previous tabs and open a new code sandbox. Also, you can just create a new React app on your local machine as well, but that would take time for me. So that is the reason I'm using this online code sandbox. All right, cool. So now I'm going to teach you a very important thing over here. Which is nothing but fetch API request, fetch request. There are like multiple ways of doing it. So the easiest one, in my opinion, is this one. So basically we have this API, right? You know what, I'm gonna write limit is equals to 120. All right. So that would give me 120, these 120 items, 120 Pokemons, something like that, right? So now I'm going to use effect, which will be automatically imported from React, and this would have an empty array. That means it will only run for the first time that it is running. All right, and I'm going to create use state known as list and set list, which will eventually hold the list of the Pokemons that we will be that will be putting a network request for. All right, cool. All right, so it's very easy. There are like multiple ways of doing it. I'm gonna use this way. Let me import use state first because it's telling that we are having an error over here. All right, cool. So now let me reload. Okay, let me just open up this thing in a complete new window, and I'm gonna press visit window. Okay, cool. So over here, I'm gonna remove everything. In fact, yeah, we'll just only see the code and we'll see the output over here. So right over here, I'll write fetch. All right. So what is fetch? So fetch is an API. The fetch API provides, it is inside JavaScript. So it will help us basically post data, get data, or do anything with the data using this fetch. Basically hit network request. So if you all know about Ajax or Ajax in Java jQuery, so it is equal to that, kind of equal to that. So let me just quickly write this up over here. So inside this thing we need to write the URL. So the URL will be something like this whole thing, right? And right over here we have to write a comma, and we have to write a flower bracket, and we need to pass in the options. The first method would be get method, because we are getting the data, we are not posting anything. All right, we are getting the data. All right, cool. And then after that, yeah, we would also pass in headers. I don't think we're supposed to pass in with capital H. Headers, just write a comma right after this thing, after the option. So basically we need to pass in different options in it. The first option is method is the get method, and then headers, there will be multiple headers depending upon these thing. I'm gonna write content type application.json. all right, so there will be various other headers as well, which will speak about that in the future videos. So, and I'm gonna write res.json, then res.json. So basically what it will do is that it will convert the response into a JSON, the response that we are getting from the backend and from the Pokemon API. And then I'm gonna write then console.log data. Right, now let's open up the console log and let's see the net go to the network tab and press reload. Okay. Okay, right over here, as you can see, Pokemon limit 120. So let me tell you a very easy way to understand this network, this thing. So whatever we are finding inside this network tab on the Google Chrome, or it will also work on a Mozilla Firefox as well, but whatever is inside this network, this fetch option, basically it is like it will store all of the network requests that is done from a particular website. All right, so if you are working on a local environment, I don't think you'll find all of these other options, but now as you can see, we are finding this Pokemon question mark limit is equal to 120. So that is what it is, right? This one, it's like that. And now it says status 200. So if you know about statuses, 200 means okay, that means it's fine. So when I click this thing, it will open up a header over here. So as you can see, status code is green. I don't know if this is green, but I guess from what I can see, this is green. So that means that is good. So it says status code 200, request method is get, if you remember, and the request URL that we have put is this thing. And now if I go to payload is the thing where we are writing this limit over here. So if I want to see 100 Pokemon APIs and Pokemons, then I would write 100. Now I'm seeing 120, so it's like that. Now this is the payload, and if you go to the preview is the response that I got from the Pokemon API. So if you can see, I got the count, I got the next, and I got this previous null. That means we're on the very first page, and then after that we have this array of elements. All right. So now what I'm gonna do over here is just set data. Okay. Set list data dot results. Okay, and now I'm gonna use one more use effect, okay, within a dependency of list, and write console log over here list. Let me go to console log again. Let me remove this console log, save it up, reload the page. So there you go. As you can see this 120 data over here. So every object contains a name, it contains a URL. So now what we will be doing is that we will be basically mapping the data that we are getting from this list. All right, so now list dot map, because I'm sure by now you should be easily able to write this map function and just return the value. All right, cool. Now after this thing, you just need to write value dot name, because if you can see this thing, every object will contain a name and URL. All right, so now if you can see this thing, it looks really ugly. You can see all of the values that are over here. So now what we'll do, we will basically put this up in a very nice manner. So in order to do that, we have to include some CSS over here, or else what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna go to Bootstrap website, Bootstrap, and get Bootstrap. I want to press get started, and I will just basically grab this up and go to index.html, put this thing over here, and I need to put this JavaScript or jQuery this thing as well before the body would end. Right, cool. So now I guess we will see a little bit of difference in the styling. All right, that I can see. Now let me just get back to this thing, and let me get back to Bootstrap. I'm gonna search tables. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste this table. Okay, first I'm gonna directly do this thing. So I'll name this thing as um, Pokemon number, and Pokemon number, and next thing would be um, Pokemon name, and here we'll find the URL. All right, now after this thing we will just go ahead and maybe this is that part, and right over here we'll put in the values that we want to map. So right inside here we will map this up. All right, and I will just pass this thing. All right, and right over here I will write a comma. If you remember, it has one more called as index, and I'm gonna write plus index, or perhaps index plus 1. All right, and value dot, I don't remember what was the name of that. Okay, well, I guess it was URL, if I'm not wrong. Let me just go over here and check. URL, small URL. Let me write this thing. All right, so now let us look at this part. Okay, it looks like that, and we need to wrap this up inside JSX or flower brackets. Let me remove this part as well, and let me remove this part, that we can only see the important part. One more thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a variable as well, known as count, that count, and write use state, which should be empty string by default. And right over here I'm gonna write set count as list.count. All right, and right before the table I'm gonna write h2, and I'll write something like this, Pokemon list of count Pokemons. Okay, list of, let's see if, okay, let me just check the, apparently I should be able to set this up. Okay, so the mistake that I was doing over here is that I've just set this up right over here, right? Let me remove this part and write data.count, because list contains only the results, it does not contain a count. So list of 1118 Pokemons. Yeah, that means these are the number of total number of Pokemons, and the limit is 120. So yeah, this was the part where we are just setting up this basically we are setting up this whole, we are basically fetching all of the data. And the next part, what we'll be doing is that we'll be putting pagination. So over here we find something called offset as well. That means we can see the total number of Pokemons that it has is 1118 Pokemons. All right, so inside that we are only fetching 100 items. So the reason behind that is that, you know, it's not like every computer that is in the world is like very powerful. So for now it's only fetching 120 values, but there might be a data where you will be fetching thousands of data, you know. It's just 120 elements in an array. There might be a situation where you will find there are like 4,000, 5,000 elements. So of course you cannot map the whole data over here. That's just against the user experience. So you need to put a pagination. Pagination is nothing but this part where you will basically press next and basically see all of the items. So it is like that. All right, so that is how pagination is. That is what pagination is, and we will be implementing pagination in the next video. So till then, goodbye and take care.